Hello everyone and welcome to the Bacon Boss's podcast, Confessions of a Bacon Boss. This is where we share real stories from behind the scenes of bacon businesses. The wins, the wobbles and the lessons that you only learn by doing. We are Charlotte and Jo, two northern girls who built our own bacon businesses through trial and error, consistency and a hell of a lot of showing up. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Rain Accounting, an expert accountancy firm who support bacon businesses and small business owners to feel confident with their finances. Rain Accountant was founded by Nicole, a straight-talking accountant who understands the reality of running a business alongside real life and believes accountancy should feel supportive, clear, accessible, and most of all, not intimidating. Bacon Bosses is the community and business behind this podcast, created to support hobby bakers and bacon business owners with practical guidance and genuine support. That support also lives inside our membership, the Bake Boss Club, where bakers get ongoing help to build success on their terms. This podcast is one part of that. Honest conversations, shared experiences, and a reminder that you're not doing this alone. Hello everyone, welcome to the very first episode of our podcast, Confessions of a Bacon Boss. We actually can't believe we're finally here because we've been putting it off for a little while, but we're here and we're ready to go.
Okay, so this podcast has been a long time coming. If you're a baker, whether you're just starting out running a business or just starting from your little kitchen or somewhere in between, this one is for you.
And this is not going to be a podcast where we're going to sit and teach you things. We're not going to show you what you should be doing. We're not here to tell you there's a perfect formula, and there's also going to be no polished success stories either.
No. Instead, we are here for the real stuff, the messy bits, the moments that don't make it onto Instagram, the wins, the wobbles, the mistakes, and the laughs that come with baking for a living.
So in every episode, we are going to be chatting with a baker about their baking journey. Things like how they got started, hard lessons that they learned along the way, and the confessions that they're brave enough to share with us.
Because baking can be lonely, running a business from home can be isolating, and sometimes you just need to hear that someone else has been there too.
So if you've ever questioned yourself, if you've compared your work, if you've dropped a cake, underpriced an order, or wondered why on earth you've chosen this path,
you're in exactly the right place.
So let's get into it. So episode 1, we've said that we're going to be interviewing a baker every podcast, and we will be interviewing bakers on every podcast, but just to kick things off, and because some of you might not know anything about me and Jo, Jo's going to be interviewing me for the podcast today.
Right, so before we get into the business part of it, Charlotte, can you tell us who is Charlotte behind the business?
God, is there a Charlotte behind the business?
Yeah, outside of bacon. Does that person exist? Because I don't know if she does.
I don't think she does. Right, so I live in Gateshead, northeast England, with my other half Pav, who's from Poland, and 2 kids, Oscar and Sophia, who are 10 and 5, nearly 6. So it is a bit of a hectic life. Obviously 2 kids, both at school, got all of the different school clubs, and yet I still managed to fit bacon and bacon bosses into the schedule. So my business is called Cakes by Oscar. I set that up at the same time as you set your business up, really, wasn't it? 2020 in one of the many
we started about the same time, didn't we?
Yeah. Didn't have a clue how to bake a cake. I mean, people have possibly heard this story before, but didn't know how to make a cake. Would not have been able to tell you the ingredients that went into a cake, never mind how to ice a one. It just started in lockdown when we had nothing to do, and Sophia had just been born, and Oscar wanted to make some cupcakes for his friends' doorsteps. It must have been on TikTok or something. And so we did that from a kid's recipe book and started posting the photos on Facebook just to share it with friends and family and like people who would give them to. And then people started asking us, like, can you do a box of cupcakes for us? Can you do this? And then can you do a cake? And I was like, well, never made a cake before, but I'm sure I can try. And just from there, and then just practicing, it just snowballed into this massive business.
So at what moment did you realise that it wasn't a hobby anymore? Like, was there a moment when you thought, actually, I'm
when
going to make a
when
business
people
of
when I
this?
started getting actual money for the bakes,
Yeah,
like I think I've always loved the idea of being self-employed, and being your own boss and not having to go to work and follow all these rules. And I would sit before I'd even thought about baking, before COVID happened and everything, I would sit at work, and I worked in the city centre of Newcastle, would sit at work, like looking out the window, Googling how can I start my own business? How can I make money? Like there must be a better way than coming to work every day. And I used to always say like I'm gonna do something, and my friends would all say she's the first person who's gonna be a millionaire.
wow.
She'll do it. I mean, watch this space. You never know. But I was also the kid who would knock on people's doors when I was younger and offer to take the dogs for a walk and charge them £1.
Yeah,
I would be shoveling snow from the gardens. I would be washing cars, and I'd be getting the kids on the street to do it as well and taking a cut. So I've always been the one to make money. So when that started happening with the baking, I thought this could be my ticket out of employment here.
yeah.
So I was all in on it at that point.
So when you went all in, what was the hardest bit? What didn't you expect when you went all in?
What I didn't expect was I didn't expect it to be harder than working in a job. Because
Yeah,
you've got this idea that you're going to work on your own and it's going to be amazing, but actually you work way more hours than you do in an employed job. It's
yeah.
all on you to bring the money in, and you've just got to keep going. Even when you don't feel like it, you have to keep showing up, especially when you're a business that is selling a product.
And was there ever a moment that you thought, I don't feel like it, I don't want to
Yeah,
do it no more?
yeah, all the time. I think people look at me and you probably now and think,
Yeah,
oh, it's so easy for them. Like, they've got these businesses, they've got this second business, but it's not easy. You've got to get up and motivate yourself when you're not motivated. You've got to do
yeah,
things even when you don't feel like doing them. When I first, so I taught myself baking, got up the orders through and things, and then decided, right, I'm going to leave my full-time job. I absolutely hated it. So it was great. Just handed me notice and thought, right, brilliant, I'm going to be a full-time baker. And the first week that I left and didn't have this employed job anymore, I got COVID for the first time. And I kid you not, I couldn't get out of bed. I was so ill with it. And I had to cancel about 5 cake orders. And then I suddenly had the realization, like, shit, I've got no money. Like,
yeah,
I've got no
yeah,
sick pay. I've got no wage coming in. Like, but I genuinely at that point couldn't get out of bed. There are times when I don't feel like it and I still do it and I still show up. That's different. But when you're really ill and you can't do it,
yeah.
that's what's frightening, I think, about being self-employed more than anything.
Because you can't just go on the sick or ring in sick.
I know, like, oh God, it was awful. And then funnily enough, when we started Bacon Bosses in July, the very first week of that, I got
Did you get
COVID.
COVID again? You got COVID again, didn't
And I
you?
ended up having to cancel me holiday to Iceland
Yeah,
where I was doing some fundraising, and it was awful. But it seems every time I go self-employed, I suddenly get COVID.
COVID, yeah, yeah. And just talking about them difficult times in business, I always think those are the times, in my difficult times as well, those are the times where you have to pull yourself back and learn and make changes so
Oh
that
yeah.
it's not difficult like that in the future. And I think that's where all my learning came from, do you think?
Oh, everything's a learning.
Yeah,
Like, if you don't learn from something that's gone wrong, you're never going to get better.
yeah,
But people just give up at the first hurdle. This
yeah,
is what we see now, like sort of quite a lot when we're talking to other bakers. People are so easy to just give up on an idea
yeah,
when actually, when you look at it, they haven't really tried.
yeah. Before they've really started.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Right. Okay. Right. Every guest that we get on the podcast shares a confession. So you're going to be the first one. What is your confession? Have you got a confession?
I should have thought about this before the conversation. What's my confession? It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose a confession is that there's been many times. So I've been in the cake business for 5 years. And I mean, this is terrible, but many times I've forgotten to write orders down. And then people have messaged us always, luckily, the day before or a couple of days before and sort of said, oh, what time can I pick the cake up tomorrow? And I'll suddenly be like, oh shit, I need to make the cake. So nobody's ever realised that I've actually forgotten the cake order. So that's a terrible confession, but I have got better with that over time. But from time to time, it does still happen because we're human. And, there will be times when we'll forget to write things down. So that, yeah, that's one of them. But I suppose in terms of speaking to other cake makers, a confession is that I definitely don't always like being a cake maker. And I think that that's all right. You don't always need to be absolutely loving exactly what you do. You're going to go through times that are like that.
Yeah.
Like you'll have loads of motivation one week, and then the next week you'll be like, why are people ordering cakes?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I stopped making cakes, and I remember my partner saying to me, "You can't be a cake maker and not make cakes." I was like, "I know, but I get too much anxiety. I'm not making cakes anymore." So
I
that I started
know.
calling myself a baker then, rather than a cake maker.
I know. It's funny though, isn't it? So I think that like that's a confession as well, because again, I think sometimes people look at you when you've got your highlight reel on Instagram and stuff and all the good photos, and then they think that that's how it should be all the time, but it's
Yeah,
not. We're all going to have these times where we think, "I just can't be bothered with this anymore." Or you get a difficult customer, or you can't get the buttercream to go smooth, and you think, I'm done. I'm done."
yeah.
That's normal.
So, what is the biggest mistake that you've made that you've learned from?
This will be no surprise, but the biggest mistake was trying to do everything.
Yeah,
Trying to just, I don't know if it was trying to keep up with everyone, because, you join these big and support groups and you see everyone asking questions about loads of different things. Like these days, we've got cake sheds being set up, people on Etsy, people postal selling, people doing markets, people doing corporate orders, people supplying to
TikTok.
cafes. Yeah, TikTok. And then you think, oh, hang on, I need to do this, I need to do this.
Yeah,
And in the early days when you're sort of learning how to have a business in general, and you're going to have times when cash flow is slow because you're building your audience. You start from scratch. You don't start with a massive audience. That grows over time. So when cash flow's slow, you see somebody on a Facebook group saying that they're going to set up a cake shed, and you think to yourself, oh, brilliant, that'll bring me a bit more money and I'm going to do a cake shed as well.
yeah,
And then you'll think the next week, oh, I'll do postal selling. So just, I did a bit of everything. And I think if I could go back, I probably wouldn't do it again. But it did have some pros as well, because then by doing everything, you realize what it is that you like
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So
I,
it's
I
hard,
agree with
isn't
that.
it?
Yeah,
You want to know what you like doing, and I suppose that was the quickest way to find out, but it caused me to really burn out. And I got to the point where I hated the business, I suppose. I hated the fact that it just felt like a conveyor belt where it was just order after order after order. My prices were low as well, so that didn't help, because yes, I was fully booked and I had orders coming out of my ears, but I was busy doing loads of stuff and not seeing any financial
yeah,
reward for it.
yeah,
Um, so I would probably do things a little bit different, I think.
yeah. So, what about, obviously now we run Bacon Bosses, and I know that everyone thinks that we dead confident and we've just got it all together. And I'm always saying to people, I promise you, I was not like this.
Hmm.
So, Charlotte, tell me about you. Were you always confident, being able to go on and do your lives, and or how has that like progressed over time? Have you just built that over time, or?
I think, right, you've just got to fake it.
Yeah, fake it till you make it.
Literally, you probably just have to fake it even when you haven't made
Yeah,
it. Just
like imposter syndrome, isn't it? Like you
yeah,
just have to know that, right, I'm stepping out my comfort zone here. I've just
yeah.
still got to go for it.
You've just got to do it and forget about what anyone else might think, because it doesn't matter. It's not their life and it's not
Yeah,
their business, and they're not paying your wage. you do what you want to do. Like, it's funny, isn't it? Because we were obviously just talking about this before, but just for context, me and Joel went to London in July, I think it was
Yeah.
July last year for a meetup with some other business owners. And we stayed over the night before. So we're in a hotel and we went for something to eat. And we're walking along the street and Joe was like doing a story on, weren't you, on your phone? And I was like, oh, I can't possibly do a story. Like, I hate the idea of being in public and like talking to the camera. And you were just like,
I was like, what?
what?
You always do lives. It's funny how it just
Oh,
shows up for different people, isn't it?
I know. So, like, for those who follow me on me social media and stuff, you probably will very rarely see like a story or a video where I'm talking to the
Yeah.
camera. I just don't know. I just don't do it. I mean, I might as time goes on, but I think nothing of delivering like a training session or a master class or a program to groups of hundreds of bakers at a time, because I feel like that's
It doesn't make
completely
sense.
different. I know. It's mad, isn't it? So like
Yeah.
confidence, you have to be comfortable with
Yeah.
faking it a little bit, because you're never gonna be confident enough to do the thing. By doing the thing, you then get more confident. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Fake it till you
So
make
I
it.
think bakers, you've got to be the same. We talk to bakers, don't we, where people are nervous about even sharing their offers into their local Facebook groups,
Yeah.
when you've got to flip that on its head and you have to think to yourself, well, by not sharing into Facebook groups, I'm then not being visible to these thousands of people who are on my doorstep who might be my ideal client
Yeah.
and then go on to buy my thing. So you've got to think about what that's blocking you from being able to achieve.
Yeah. And the same with something else that we were talking about. A lot of bakers undercharge because they're scared of what people will say if they put the prices up. But what about what people think of you as a baker charging those low prices? Like,
Mhm.
how does that reflect?
Yeah,
So
definitely
yeah,
it
yeah.
does.
So what do you think? One thing outside the industry that people completely misunderstand about being a baker for a living?
Honestly, where do I start with this one? There's so many things. People don't understand how long it takes
Yeah.
to actually go from the ingredients to a finished cake.
Hmm.
Or, for instance, to mix the cake, I don't know, probably half an hour, something like that, to get it all mixed together, ingredients weighed out, get put in the oven. Then you've got probably about an hour in the oven, cooling down time, making the buttercream. It
Yeah.
all adds up. Say that's about 4 hours. Most people go to work, and I don't even know what minimum wage is these days, but say get paid £15 an hour. So for 4 hours work, you're going into your job, you're getting paid £60. If you quote somebody that for a cake, and you're going to add more on top because there's profit, you've got to cover your costs as well. You're looking at probably £80 plus at
Yeah.
least for the cake. People will very quickly say, bloody hell, you're having my eyes out there. That's super
Yeah.
expensive.
People think they're paying just for the cake. They're
Uh-huh.
not. They're paying for the
They're
time and the
paying,
same.
but they're not even just paying for your time, are they? They're paying for the fact that you're talented enough
Yeah.
to make a cake that looks like that. And I think like that's just a total like misconception about the industry, that cake makers charge loads and that they add on loads when it's a wedding cake and stuff. And it's just
Yes.
not true. It's because it takes more time and more skill, and that's what you pay for. But you know what's really disappointing as well is that cake making, generally, I would say in the majority, home bakers in the UK are probably female, and were probably mothers, or have caring responsibilities, or maybe it's another job along the side. And if it was a male job, so like a male dominated job, say like plumbing, something like that, where they've got a skill, they've learned it takes a lot of time. Nobody bats an eyelid when your plumber charges
Yeah.
£300 to find out why your pipe's not working.
Yeah.
But yet, a cake maker who's female has to really justify the fact of just
Yeah.
charging to cover the costs. Like, it's crazy to
It's
me.
just a huge thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Right. So let's talk. Bacon Bosses. Okay. Right. We'll start at the beginning. You and me met because we both had free bacon communities. So can you tell us why building a community was so important to you?
Because I think when I was learning, when I started the business and I joined the groups, various groups in 2020, realised how much it became like your support network really quickly, and you tapped into all the bacon groups to learn different things and skills, and if something went wrong, someone would always be on hand to answer the question. So I think that community helps you to keep going when times are tough.
Yeah.
And if you're a home baker, you're probably sitting on your own all day in the house, like with Netflix on or the radio on in the background. And whilst that's good sometimes to have quiet and be on your own, it can get really lonely. So to have a community of people who can help you, brilliant idea. And why not be the ones to start it?
Yeah.
Like we just champion everyone, we help everyone. And we both believe that it's community over and collaboration over competition. That's what our whole Bacon Bosses business is based on, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Obviously, we had our free groups, then we met, and then we decided, right, we'll do a couple of classes together because you were like the Etsy queen. Like, so the first time when we went, so we met up. So Jo lives in Hartlepool, I live in Gateshead. So we sort of met in the middle,
Yeah.
like, at this cafe. And I remember, like, we're sitting there and Jo's phone is just going cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. It's like Etsy order after Etsy order after Etsy order. I think, was it probably Easter time, something like
Yeah.
that, I think, yeah.
It will have been.
And it was just going off non-stop. So we thought, well, we'll do our first class together about Etsy, because I'd done them before. I'd, done lots of stuff on Etsy. And then it spiraled from there into, right, let's create a better space for bakers, and we'll have a bacon membership, and we'll call it the Bake Boss Club. Like, it's just mad, isn't it? It went from there.
Yeah. So what are you most proud of since we've started Bacon Bosses? What's like one of your biggest, proudest moments or achievements?
Oh, just the Bake Boss Club. I actually love them. Do you not feel the same?
That moment when we launched the membership for the first time, and we were like, I hope one person joins. And we got over, I think we got 61, didn't we? Was it 60 or 61? And we were just like, it took a while to sink in. It didn't feel real. I was like, oh my God, we've hit 40. We've hit 50.
I know.
Do you think we'll hit? And it was going up, and we were just like,
I know, I can literally remember
I couldn't believe it.
We were like, oh, I wonder if anyone's actually going to join this. Like, is it?
If 20 people joined, I would have been blown away. Like, even if 10 people joined, I'd have been so happy. Yeah. So when the numbers kept going up and up, and me and you were like, do you know, there's 30 joined now. Now there's 40. I was just like, oh my God.
Well,
the imposter syndrome.
I know.
The lot. I was feeling it at that point. I was like, oh my God, what we're doing.
It was brilliant, wasn't it? And it's not even like the numbers of people, although like it was amazing, like it was just wild to see that many people joining. But the people who've joined, like, it makes you feel so happy to be surrounded by these people. And there's no other way to describe it without sounding cheesy, but like we've got a WhatsApp group as part of the Bake Boss Club. And I kid you not, it's the most active group I've ever seen in
I mean, I hold my hands up, I can't keep up. Charlotte has to message me and say, Joanne, they're tagging you in the WhatsApp group, and then I have to like go in, or I'll have to go in and say, right, can someone update me what's been happening? It is so active. There's so many chats going on where everyone's supporting each other in different ways. I mean, people are even they create their own chats and arranging meetups around the country. That's like without us, because of the friendships that's formed. And I'm just like, they're fine, just let them get on with it. It's what it's for, isn't it?
It's mad. You can talk about anything in there, and it's just like, that's what I'm most proud of, the fact that we managed to launch this community that's turned out to be something way bigger
and
way
attract
more
all of those amazing people. Yeah.
It's attracted like the best people ever.
Yeah.
We did Secret Santa, didn't we? That was brilliant. We're going to London in a few weeks
Yeah.
as a meetup with some of them. There's just something about being in that community that really helps keep you motivated. And on days that you don't feel good or that you're having a bad time in your business, people there will cheerlead you better than anyone that you've known all your life. You
Yeah.
know, these strangers will help keep you going.
There's
It's
been no
amazing,
negativity whatsoever.
you know.
And I
Brilliant.
think that's because we've led with the way we lead. It
Mhm.
is positive. You know, yes, we're open and we're transparent. You know, we don't try to, you know, make everything look pretty. We are open and transparent, but we are positive and kind with everyone. So, and I think that just sort of has its ripple effect right through, doesn't it?
It does,
Yeah.
absolutely. So that's definitely the thing that I'm most proud of, I
Yeah.
think.
I'm with you on that one. Right, I've got some quick fire questions for you. So, are you ready for them?
No. Let's try.
Right, what is your favourite bake to eat, not sell?
So I had what's it called? I bought something from one of our Bake Boss Club members at a market, so I went to see her. Oh, what was it called? I can't even remember what it's called. It was in our Christmas book. Florentine, the cranberry
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and chocolate orange Florentine, absolutely
Was it?
unbelievable. But I don't
I'll
think
have
I've
to
got the
make that.
patience to
Yeah, I
bake
know which
it,
one you mean.
but it was lush. So that gets my vote.
What's one bake that you will never make again?
Mm. I don't think I've had a one that I think, God, I'm never making that again. No, I don't think I have got one.
Okay, that's fair enough. What's one thing you wish you'd known sooner?
That you don't have to do all the things.
Yeah.
You can still be successful and do one thing.
And what's one rule that you've broken in business?
Just doing things my own way. I don't know if that's a rule that's broken, but I don't just follow what everyone else wants to do either. So I know these are quick fire questions, but let us
All
explain.
right.
So when I started on Etsy, everywhere I was looking for advice, it was like, oh, you need to have 10 to 20 listings to be seen. You're not going to sell anything if you've, blah, 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 blah. And there's me with me rubbishest little photo of brownies in the worst lighting. Brownies weren't cut properly, like look horrific. And I just had one listing on Etsy.
Yeah.
And then in 1 month, I made £4,000.
Wow.
So I just learned to do things my own way
Yeah.
and trust myself and my gut. So I don't know if that's a rule to be broken, but
Yeah.
mine, yeah.
Just to so basically break the rules and be you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do what everyone's telling you to do.
I love it, love it. Right, okay. So we're coming towards the end. So what would you hope that someone listening to this podcast episode takes away?
That you don't need to be perfect or in a perfect position to start. You don't need to be perfect to do the next thing that you want to do. You don't need to wait for perfection in any way. You just need to start. You just need to make steps. Be consistent, take the step, show up, and that's going to get you far.
Yeah.
So I hope that that's what people take from it, because I certainly didn't start with perfection. I was there in my kitchen trying to bloody butter me buttercream knife with a butter knife. Trying to do it like that. So you've just got to start. Don't be scared to start. Don't be scared that people are going to think you're silly or anything like that. Do you get started, and the world's your oyster.
Right, that's it.
That's it. There we go. First episode of the podcast all done. Obviously we've got loads more to come. We've already interviewed some brilliant bakers and there's more lined up. Come back for the next episode where we'll have another guest that we're going to be interviewing. And who's the next guest, Jo?
Me!
We're going to be talking more about Jo's journey in business and some interesting bits and pieces. So do join us for the next podcast. If you've enjoyed this one, make sure to tell people about it. You can find us on all the usual places where you find your podcasts, and it'll be much appreciated. So we'll speak to you on the next one.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Bacon Bosses podcast. If this episode has helped or made you feel less alone, please subscribe, leave a review, or share it with another baker, because it really does help the podcast and us reach more people. If you're somebody who's looking for some free support, you can find our Facebook community by searching UK Home Baking Support, Hobby Bakers and Beginners. It's a really welcoming space for bakers at every single stage of their journey, including new hobby bakers out there. You'll also find the option to leave your email so that we can send you some free resources to help you on your baking journey. And if you want ongoing support beyond that, Bacon Bosses is the community behind the podcast, with our Bake Boss Club membership for bakers who want to grow on their terms. All of the links are in the show notes, and we're just really glad that you've listened to the podcast. We'll see you in the next episode.